beginners to the intermediate. Today, as you can guess, is going to be advanced. So I'm super excited to give this practice to you guys. If you are still beginners, you're of course still welcome to try this one. For those who just have a little bit more of a consistent practice, want to take things up just one more level, this is going to be your practice. So still going to be vinyasa based. We're just going to make it a little bit harder. So let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going to go ahead and start in Shavasana in our traditional corpse pose. So just go ahead and come there and make yourself as comfortable as you can. And while we're here, just go ahead and take a moment to get rid of any last minute jitters. While you lay here, just get rid of anything unnecessary. You can make yourself as comfortable as you can. And then once you've done that, go ahead and start to bring your attention to your natural breath. As you start to take that natural breath and turn it into your Ujjayi breath, which is going to be how we breathe throughout practice, which is going to be using inhales and exhales through your nose. You're going to keep your lips sealed. You're also going to want to keep a slight constriction in the back of your throat, so it's a very audible breath. So go ahead and start that now. As we begin to flex both feet, pulling them in towards our body. Once you've done that, we can slowly rise our right leg up high to the sky. Keep the foot flexed, keep the right leg as straight as we can. And let's go ahead and roll that ankle in some circles as we slowly warm up the foot. Keeping that leg straight, go ahead and lower it back down to the earth. This time as we raise that left leg up, remember to keep the foot flexed, leg straight as it rises, and then go ahead and roll the ankle in some circles at the top. In both directions of the circle. And then go ahead and lower that left leg back down to the earth. Next, we're going to take our hands, we're going to flip them palms shine down as we slide the hands directly under our hips for extra support. Once we're there, let's bring the heels together, feet flexed. Become strong through the core to lift up both legs at the same time as we come into legs up a wall. Both legs are straight, feet are going to be flexed. From here, let's go ahead and bend those knees, pull them into our chest as we hug the thighs in close to our torso for knees to chest pose, Apanasana. Once we're there, let's go ahead and rock up to a seated position. It might take a few times here as you rock out through the spine. That's all right. Once you're there, we're going to come up to Sukhasana, the pose of ease. So go ahead and make yourself at ease. Make yourself comfortable here. Once you're there, go ahead and roll your shoulders in some circles, bring them up close to the ears, drop them down the back. Maybe you alternate the direction of the circles, perhaps even one drops high as the other lowers. Just doing whatever you need to do right now for your body. Next, we're going to go ahead and roll our head in some circles, let it roll shoulder to shoulder. As the chin comes nice and low to the chest, the back of the head drops down towards the spine. You switch the direction of your circle. Let's go ahead and bring those hands in front of us, legs behind us to come into our all fours pose, tabletop. From here, we're going to find cat on our exhale around the spine up towards the sky. And on your inhale, that belly is going to come low. The hips and the head are going to rotate high for cow pose. And exhale as you find cat. As you push the earth away from you, tuck the chin to the chest. And inhale as you come deep into cow. Fill your lungs completely here, each breath. Exhale, you're emptying those lungs completely. Inhale into your cow pose. Go ahead and come back to a neutral spine position. We're going to extend that right leg out behind us. Toes are going to be pointed. Once there, we're going to bend that knee, pull it into our chest for sunbird pose. The back is going to arch up towards the ceiling, and inhale, lengthen it back out. And exhale as you contract, pull that leg in for sunbird. And inhale, lengthen back out as the spine straightens. Exhale one more time, chance to make it your best one. Let that head look down at the knee. And inhale, lengthen it back out. Go ahead and drop that right knee down to the earth. This time we're going to take that left leg, stick it out behind us, toes pointed. On our exhale, let's pull that leg into the face. And inhale, lengthen out. Exhale as we pull that leg in a second time here for sunbird pose on our left. And inhale as we lengthen out. As you exhale one last time here for sunbird pose. And inhale as you lengthen. Go ahead and drop that left knee now down to the earth. So we're going to curl all the toes underneath us and the hips up to the sky for downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Shavasana. Once there, you can start to pedal out the heels, allow one to rise high as the other lowers. Go ahead and stretch out your calves through the hamstrings. Once you find your balance and your stillness, the gaze is going to look forward. Go ahead and shift your weight forward into those hands for a high plank. And on your exhale, we're going to come back to down dog. We're going to flow through that a couple times. So shift the weight forward on your inhale, come into your high plank, shoulders come right over the wrist. And exhale as you come back to that down dog. When your next inhale comes, come back to that high plank. As you exhale, come back to downward facing dog. As your gaze looks forward to your hands, go ahead and slowly tiptoe those feet up to forward fold into Uttanasana. And then on our next inhale, we're going to very slowly, one vertebrae at a time, rise all the way up to Tadasana, mountain pose. Let your head be the last thing to come up. And once we're there, let's go ahead and rise those hands up and overhead, palms and fingertips touch. And we're going to lower that right hand down to the right hip. With that left arm, go ahead and reach over to the right side of your body for lateral flexion. Go ahead and bring it back to the top. This time that left arm of yours goes down to the left hip. Right hand is going to reach over to that left side. Go ahead and bring that left arm nice and high, palms and fingertips touch at the top. Go ahead and bring them down to your heart center as we fold down to forward fold, back to Uttanasana. On your inhale, you're going to take a halfway lift. Keep your legs nice and straight, back is flat. Exhale, hands come back down to the earth. As you inhale, go ahead and step those legs back to a high plank. From there, we're going to find our flow on our inhale as we come into upward facing dog, into Urdhva Mukha Shavasana. On your exhale, curl those feet back underneath you as you come into down dog, into Adho Mukha Shavasana. We're going to find the leg lift on that right side next as we reach that right leg up towards the sky legs. Our straight foot is flexed. Go ahead and pull that leg into your chest as you drop that right foot in between your hands for a low lunge. Once you're there, you're going to rise up all the way into a high lunge. Go ahead and tuck that left foot down to the earth. As we come into Warrior One, to Virabhadrasana 1. So the hips are going to have a tendency here to open up to the side, and that's fine. We just want to make sure that we're squaring our torso towards the front. Biceps are close to the ears. Go ahead and lower those hands back to the earth. As we take that right foot, take a big step back to downward facing dog. So go ahead and flow through that on the left side this time. Start with a three-legged down dog. Toes are reaching up towards the sky, legs are straight. On your exhale, go ahead and bend that knee, pull it into your chest. Left foot comes in between the hands, find your low lunge. Once the balance is there, you can rise up to standing, and then of course rise that back right heel down to the ground for Warrior One. Remembering to tap back into that breath of yours if you had lost it. Breathe the belly into the spine. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and lower those hands down to the earth. As you take that left foot now, take a big step back to downward facing dog. Take a breath once you were there. As you inhale, the gaze looks to the hands. Slowly tiptoe those feet as we meet back into Uttanasana. Hands and feet have met the ground. On your inhale, go ahead and slowly rise all the way back up to standing. Hands are going to meet at the top for Tadasana, mountain pose. Go ahead and bring those hands down to your heart. As you fold back down to forward fold. Once there, lift those legs behind you, come into your high plank. Then we're going to shift the weight into our left hand for a left side plank. Right arm's going to be nice and high. To transition into our next pose, first lift that right leg off the left. Step that right leg behind you, bending in the knee. Right arm arches over the head. The back is arched for Wild Thing pose. Go ahead and come back to your center as you come back to that left side plank. Releasing that right hand down to the earth. As we shift the weight into the right this time for a right side plank, left arm is going to go high. Again, for that second variation, this time that left leg's going to lift up. Bending at the knee to place that left foot directly behind the mat. Arching through the back, left arm reaches up and overhead for Wild Thing. And go ahead and shift your weight back to the center of your right side plank. And release that left hand down to the ground as you find upward facing dog on your inhale. And exhale pushes you back to downward facing dog. And your inhale, the gaze looks forward. Go ahead and tiptoe those feet back to forward fold as you rise up on your inhale back to mountain pose, back into Tadasana. Hands are going to come to the top. And then from there, go ahead and release those hands down to the center of your heart. Next, we're going to find our first arm balance pose. So keep those hands at your heart to begin with as we lower down into chair. From there, we're going to twist over to our left shoulder as we bring that right elbow down to the left knee for twisting chair. To find an arm balance from there, you release those hands down to the ground as the knees rest on the right elbow, the hips rest on the left. See if you can lift up the feet. Perhaps if you can lift up the feet, you practice spreading those legs in the opposite direction. As you can see, I couldn't hold that for very long, but if you still try, your body gets the feel of it. As we all go ahead and rise back to center, this time twist over to your opposite side. This time that left elbow comes to the right knee. As you release those hands down to the earth, go ahead and practice shifting your weight into the hands, even if you can't quite get that arm balance. If the feet can't rise off the ground, perhaps you still practice shifting the weight into the hands as the head hovers. Wherever you are, let's go ahead and come back to our twisting chair. As then we come back to our chair facing the front. As we inhale, let's straighten the legs, come back to Tadasana, mountain pose. And let's go ahead and fold all the way back down to forward fold. On your inhale, go ahead and find your halfway lift, monkey pose. Exhale, hands come back down to the earth for forward fold. On your inhale, let's step the legs back for your high plank. And go ahead and find your flow on your inhale as you find upward facing dog. Curl those toes underneath you, straighten the legs, come into downward facing dog. Our next inhale, we're going to lift that right leg of ours back up to the ceiling for three-legged down dog. Make sure both legs are as straight as they can be. And on your exhale, we're going to bend that knee, pull it into the chest as we come back into a low lunge on that right side. Go ahead and rise those hands up overhead as you open up to the side, arms out to a T. That back left heel has entirely met the ground now for Warrior 2, for Virabhadrasana 2. You can always challenge yourself here by sinking a little bit further onto that front right leg of yours. As we come into extended side angle, go ahead and place that right forearm on the right thigh, or perhaps that right hand can reach down to the ground. Left arm's going to reach up and overhead. To find a bind here, go ahead and release that left arm to the small of your back. That right arm is going to reach around the low half of your right leg. Perhaps the hands even touch in the back to find a bind in our extended side angle. Whichever variation you are in, you are still getting stronger. Let's all go ahead and come back to Warrior 2. From there, let's come into Reverse Warrior. The hand can be resting on the hamstring, or the hand can wrap around your back. The forearm meets the small of the back. Perhaps the left hand reaches around to the right thigh. Let's go ahead and cartwheel those arms back down to our low lunge as we step the right leg back to meet the left and downward facing dog. Exhale once you are there. As we inhale, go ahead and practice the same on the other side, starting with our three-legged down dog. And as you exhale, go ahead and bend the knee, pull it into your chest, foot comes in between the hands, find your low lunge. Raise the hands up overhead as they open out to the side for Warrior 2 on the left side. Keep your gaze looking over those front left fingertips. As we go ahead and come into extended side angle, remembering those three variations you have. As you find whichever speaks best for this side of your body. Remembering if you want to take that bind, this time that left arm is going to reach under the left leg, right arm is going to come behind the back. And maybe, just maybe, one day those hands will connect. Go ahead and release from whichever variation you are in. Go ahead and come back to Warrior 2. As then we're going to come into Reverse Warrior. Left arm is high, right hand can be on the right hamstring, or you can bend in that right elbow, placing the forearm into the small of the back. Then you have that chance to work that hand around to the left thigh. And go ahead and release those hands down as we step that left leg back to meet the right into downward facing dog. As you inhale, go ahead and shift your weight forward into a high plank. Go ahead and hinge at the elbows, lower yourself all the way down to the earth. Once you're there, go ahead and come onto the forearms. Into Sphinx pose. As you pull the belly into your spine, you're actively going to be pushing your torso towards the top of your mat. You're sitting up nice and tall. Then go ahead and release the torso to the ground. Go ahead and slide the palms down by the hips, shining upward. Once we're there, we're going to bend both feet, both legs. Feet are shining up towards the sky. With those hands, go ahead and reach around you. Grab the feet, preparing for bow pose. Grabbing the outside of each of the feet, and then we're going to kick those feet into the hands, helping you rise up into bow. Helping get that nice deep back bend and that stretch through the spine. Go ahead and hold it for as long as you can. Stay strong, and then go ahead and release down to the ground when your body is ready as you straighten out the legs and the arms. Go ahead and slide those hands back under the shoulders to help you push yourself back into a high plank. From there, you're going to go ahead and come back to downward facing dog. As we inhale, the gaze looks forward as we meet back into Uttanasana, into our forward fold. Go ahead and rise all the way back up to Tadasana, into mountain pose. Hands are going to come to the top. Then we're going to release those hands down by our side. Go ahead and spread your legs a little bit wider than the hips, perhaps mat width distance. Go ahead and bring the hands back to your heart. As you bend in the knees, bring the hips as low as they can come from Alasana into our low squat. As we're going to go ahead and try another arm balance here, release those hands down to the ground. As you keep those thighs on the outside edges of the arms, go ahead and shift the weight forward into your hands, into Kakasana, into crane pose. Go ahead and release the feet down if you were in that arm balance. Hands come back to the heart. To come out of this, we're going to enjoy our calf muscles a little bit more. Come out of the balls of your feet. As you straighten the legs, very slowly rise up to standing. Go ahead and lower those heels once you have made it. As you bring those feet back under your hips, you can relax those hands down at the hips. Go ahead and step out a little bit further than the hips, creating some space here through the legs as you lower down into your wide-legged forward fold. Once you're there, you can go ahead and walk those hands over to your right leg. Go ahead and pull whichever side of that leg that you can. Pull it close to the face. This time we're going to walk our hands over to that left side. Do the same thing as you actively pull yourself towards that side of the body. Go ahead and walk the hands back to center as we prepare for a headstand. Go ahead and release that crown of the head down to the earth. As you bring those knees on top of the triceps, directly behind the elbows here. Once you're there, you can see if you can lift up one leg, perhaps both legs lift up into a tripod. As you start to feel where that top of your head needs to be balanced, go ahead and release the legs back to wide-legged forward fold. As you stand up slowly, bring those shoulders up over the hips. From here, you're going to step your hands to the front as you step your legs to the back as we all meet back into downward facing dog. Go ahead and take a breath here for yourself once you've made it. As we inhale, we're going to find a leg lift on that right side. Right toes are going to be pointed. From there, go ahead and bend in that right knee as the right toes fall over the left side of the body to get that deep hip stretch on the right side. And you're going to go ahead and straighten that leg once again. As you bend in the knee, pull it through the chest, then the outside edge of that calf is going to drop down to the ground for pigeon pose. Go ahead and untuck those toes on your left side. Make yourself nice and comfy here. And go ahead and bend in that left knee, pulling the left foot up to the sky. That left arm, you're going to reach around to the left foot. As you slowly work that foot into the elbow crease on that left side. This is to prepare for a bind here. Then that right arm of yours is going to go up and overhead, perhaps interlace with the hands. Both hands are touching here. That foot's going to stay in that elbow crease for king pigeon pose. And go ahead and release the arms. Release that leg as we all come back into a traditional pigeon as you relax the torso, the forearms, and the head. Go ahead and relax everything down to the earth as you let it all just fall heavy over that front leg of yours. So we slowly bring the hands back onto the mat. We're going to curl those left toes underneath us. The hips go up to the sky as you come back to downward facing dog. So we practice the same on that left side, starting with the leg lift. Keep your leg nice and straight. And go ahead and bend in that left knee. Let those toes fall over to the right to get that deep hip stretch. And go ahead and straighten back out to your traditional three-legged down dog. As you bend in the knee, pull it through the chest. That outside edge of the left calf now meets the ground for pigeon pose. Untuck those toes of yours on the right side. And to find that bind here, we're going to bend that right knee, pull it in towards the body. That foot is going to hook into the right elbow crease. Left arm is going to come up and overhead. Bend at the elbow, see if the hands can connect here for king pigeon pose. Even if the hands can't quite connect, you can still bend the arms in the same direction as you work yourself maybe one day to getting those hands to connect. Go ahead and bring the upper body down over that front left leg. Release the hands and the head down to pigeon pose. Go ahead and walk those hands back up to the mat. As we curl those right toes underneath us this time, send the weight back to the legs into downward facing dog. From here, we're going to drop those knees down to the earth as we come back to all fours. Then let's take that right leg, take a big step up to the right hand. From there, go ahead and shift your weight forward as we come into a runner's lunge. Sometimes it feels good in this pose if you rock side to side, tap into all those muscles, perhaps even you lower down to the forearms if the flexibility allows you to. Next, we're going to go ahead and practice on our splits. Go ahead and slide that left leg forward, right leg is behind you. Even if the splits aren't something that's available to you, you can still practice on shifting the weight down as you get that deep stretch through the hips, through the groin muscles. Keeping those hands on the ground, let's go ahead and slide that front leg back to runner's lunge. And then from there, the knee comes back down to the earth for all fours. This time, that right leg of ours is going to take a big step up to the right hand. Go ahead and sink deep into your runner's lunge on that right side. Remembering you can drop down to the forearms if that is in your practice. Go ahead and walk the hands back up as you try to slide that right leg this time in front of you as you come into your splits. As you'll notice, for whatever reason, I could not get my splits on this side. So please be aware that sometimes one side of your body can be more flexible, more balanced than the other. And that's all right. Just go ahead and practice on yourself still as we come back to all fours, both hands, both knees on the ground here. Once we're there, we're going to put those legs in front of us as we come down onto the hips. As we come into staff pose, feet are going to be flexed. And let's go ahead and bend in that left knee, put the left foot into the inner right thigh. Go ahead and interlace the hands on top of in the back of the head. That right hand is going to come down to the left knee, and that right shoulder is going to lower down towards the right knee. Once you're there, that left hand can reach around to the top of the right foot. Perhaps then that right hand can reach around as well for a twisting head to knee pose. As you feel this deep stretch through the spine, go ahead and slowly come out of the pose the same way we came in. You then keep those hands behind the head. Just go ahead and switch out the legs here. This time that right foot comes to the inner left thigh. Left hand is going to grab that right knee as you work that left shoulder down to the left knee. Right hand is then going to reach over top to that foot. Perhaps that left hand then comes to that foot as well for our twisting head to knee pose. As we go ahead and slowly rise back up to the center the same way we came down. Go ahead and come up. And go ahead and release the hands down to the side. As we bend in both knees, go ahead and allow the feet to come down to the earth as you lower the back down to the mat. Keeping those hands down at the hips. Go ahead and lift the hips off the ground into bridge pose. As you feel the back side of the body getting stronger, you can bend in the elbows, placing those hands in the small of the back. Fingertips are going to face down towards the knees. And let's go ahead and lift our right leg up towards the sky to help our supported bridge pose here. Your right feet are going to be flexed. And then let's go ahead and lower that right foot back down to the earth. This time we take that left leg and we reach it up towards the sky. Try to get it as straight as you can as you feel those muscles working and getting more flexible. Make sure the toes are flexed. And go ahead and bring that left foot down to the earth as you relax the hands first, and then the hips come second as they relax down to the earth. This time you're going to keep those knees bent. As you bring them into your chest, use your core strength to lift those hips off the ground, coming into a shoulder stand pose. Once those hands meet the small of the back, the feet are going to be reaching up towards the sky. Legs are both straight here. To play around with our shoulder stand a little bit more, you can drop that right foot down to the floor behind your head, still keeping both legs straight. Go ahead and alternate legs this time. Right is straight, left is reaching behind the head. Go ahead and bring that left leg back up to the top as you lower both legs behind you this time, keeping them straight for just a moment. And if it's in your practice to bend those knees, placing the knees directly by the shoulders for plow pose, you can do that now as you relax the hands down on the mat. Maybe the hands interlace. Very important to keep your sight looking directly above your body. Don't twist the head. If the hands were extended, go ahead and bring them back to the small of the back as we bring those legs back up high for our shoulder stand. Go ahead and slowly lower those hips back down to the earth as we come into our knees to chest pose. Once you're there, you can rock side to side. And sometimes it feels good in Apanasana to rock side to side. Roll out any of those muscles along the spinal column. Go ahead and extend just the right leg of yours, still giving that left leg a great big hug. Then you're going to take your right hand, place it on the outside edge of the left knee as you send that left knee over the right side of your body for supine spinal twist. To advance those twists more, you can bend in the right knee, pulling the right foot into the hips. That left hand is going to walk down to that foot as they connect. As you start to feel your spine unwind here in this deep twisting pose. As you ask yourself if you're still focusing on that Ujjayi breath, keep the breath going through the nose. And go ahead and release yourself as you send both legs back to the top of the mat. Both legs are straight here for just a moment. This time we're going to take that right knee of ours, bend it, pull it deep into the chest, give it a great big hug. Then we're going to take the left hand, place it on the outside edge of the knee, guide that right knee over the left side of the body. To find that bind, you're going to bend in your left knee, pull that left foot into the hips. Right hand is going to reach around the back and grab that foot. Totally optional here, but just if you want to advance in the twist just a little bit more. No matter where you are, your head can be looking over your right shoulder. If you were holding on to that bound leg, go ahead and release it now as we slowly release that right hip back down to the earth. Go ahead and straighten that right leg out in front of you as both heels have now met the ground, as the entire back side of the body is now onto the mat for Shavasana as we come back into corpse pose. Go ahead and close the eyes as you slowly start to find relaxation. As you allow every exhale that comes to relieve you of anything unwanted, whether it be in the mind or in the body, as you just repeat back to yourself right now that I wish to get rid of anything that does not serve me. As we're going to rest here in silence for a few moments, just go ahead and think about nothing but your natural breath and how it flows through your body. Go ahead and slowly start to wiggle the fingers and the toes, bringing life back into your body. Whenever the body feels that it's ready, you can bend the knees, pulling them into your chest. From there, they're going to go ahead and fall over to the left side of your body. You come into a fetal position. Your left arm can act as a pillow for the head. As this is our last pose here in this practice, this is the time where you begin to become thankful for your body and all the wonderful things it allows you to do. Keeping the eyes closed. Whenever you feel ready, go ahead and slowly push yourself back into Sukhasana, into that pose of ease. Make yourself at ease and comfortable in your seated position. Go ahead and bring your hands to your heart as you slowly blink open the eyes. So I'd like to thank you so much today for tuning into this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, and I'd love to know what you look forward to seeing in the future, any possible ideas for future videos. Namaste. The light in me sees, honors, and reflects the light in all of you. Thank you so very much.